Professor Carsten Hermann Clark from Frankfurt School of Management. I met him first time in some conference which was held in Berlin last July. The theme was something on bridging gap between economics and area studies or something like that. And, he was one of the organizers of this conference, and he kindly commented on my paper and had the opportunity to interact with each other. And I found out that what he's now doing is quite interesting one. So I gather that he has the opportunity to come to Asia. He's not only doing like a theoretical studies, the kind of things which he's going to talk about today, but he's also doing Chinese studies, starting out from ancient Chinese philosophies, and also he does studies in contemporary China and so forth. So he is interested, and especially he's very broad ranged. And as we are going to hear today, today's talk is sort of a very nice mixture of economics, neuroscience, and philosophy, and kind of things which we are also very much interested in. So I'm very glad to have him today. Unfortunately, I found out that actually evolutionary Japanese Society for Evolutionary Economics is holding a national annual conference today. So many of us people who are interested in his work cannot come, but as a virtual center for studies in institutional institutions, we have a good homepage where the interesting seminar can be broadcasted through the video, and so that many people can potentially can hear him, and unfortunately cannot be interacted at this place, but maybe I hope that our productive academic interaction going to continue. So thank you very much for coming from Germany. So please.
Yeah, thank you so much for this invitation and for enjoying this opportunity. If you don't mind, I would like to stand up if possible. Actually, I discovered that this is a place which might be very appropriate to present my thoughts on money. Because, as you mentioned, what I am trying to do is to use different theoretical resources to understand the institution of money, and to put those theoretical resources into one overarching framework. So, as you see, I will touch several topics. It is relatively complex, so within this short presentation I cannot really go into details, but you have the paper on the table and you may follow up later if you are interested in. First of all, sometimes there is a misunderstanding if you start to, if you introduce your topic as a sort of theory of money. The theory of money is a central question in economic theory, of course, and so there are so many contributions, and many of them, or most of them, I will not mention at all. So, because my theoretical resources mostly come from outside of economics, and this sometimes causes some troubles in understanding the argument. So, what I would like to emphasize is that I choose money as a topic because I think it could be a very promising testing ground for a general theory of institutions which follows what Geoffrey Hodgson calls generalized Darwinism. A generalized Darwinism approach to institutions. And if this is the main purpose, then I adopt a view of money which is not very sophisticated. In a sense, very simple. Just take money as it is in the everyday life. And I think this is also a good starting point for such kind of so-called Darwinian theory, because we need to take money as a fact in everyday life first, and not what money is in the more sophisticated institutional context of banking, international finance, and so forth. I think this is what one really needs to emphasize and talk about money in the sense as people outside this building use money in everyday life. So, this is one clarification. The other is, of course, what does generalized Darwinism mean in that context? The first thing is, generalized Darwinism means a naturalistic approach. Naturalistic approach, some people use the term ontological continuity here, means that one pursues the idea that any kind of analysis of economic behavior must have some connection or even foundation in terms of more general theories about human behavior, in terms of biological theories, in terms of brain science theories, neuroscience, and so forth. So naturalistic means two things. One is naturalistic in terms of method, yeah, trying to integrate sciences into economics. But naturalistic also means that the perspective on behavior is not based on some axiomatic approach, for example, about rationality, but we try to look at human beings as they are in the sense of physical, biological entities. This is one thing. The other thing is, what is mainly emphasized by researchers such as Geoffrey Hodgson, is there must be a set of universals defining so-called generalized Darwinism, such as, for example, variation, selection, and retention as a principle of analysis. There are other components where there is much more debate, for example, distinction between genotype and phenotype and this sort of thing, but I won't touch those questions, just to give you a flavor, what generalized Darwinism might be. And the third component of generalized Darwinism, I think, is that generalized Darwinism is non-reductionist, and that is very different from earlier research traditions in sociobiology, for example, which were reductionist. Generalized Darwinism thinks in terms of levels of selection, which means that you have certain principles of analysis, and you may apply those principles on different levels, such as culture or cognitive mechanisms, but it does not mean that you reduce a cognitive mechanism on the level of genes, for example. So generalized Darwinism includes a notion of emergence, for example, emergent levels. So this just as a clarification. So what I will do in my presentation now is